أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فلما فصل طالوت بالجنود قال إن الله مبتليكم بنهر فمن شرب منه فليس مني ومن لم يطعمه فإنه مني إلا من اغترف غرفة بيده فشربوا منه إلا قليلا منهم فلما جاوزه هو والذين آمنوا معه قالوا لا طاقة لنا اليوم بجالوت وجنوده قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو الله كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله والله مع الصابرين صدق الله العظيم. This is verse number 249 of Surah Al Baqarah. In previous verses we have read that the Prophet of Israel appointed a king, Talut, over the children of Israel. And then first they were not ready to accept him as a king over them. Later on the Prophet described the sign of his kingdom over them. So when the angels carried the chest to the children of Israel and they saw this sign, so they accepted, they believed in the kingdom of Talut, who then mounted an attack on Jalut while the weather was very hot. When they accepted Talut as a king, so the king ordered them to prepare for fighting against the Jalut. Jalut was a disbeliever that time. So, but when Talut marched forth and fighting against the Talut, so actually that time there were 80,000 people. According to another report, there were 70,000 people. But actually some of them, they were sincere and steadfast believers, and some of them were not sincere, or you can say they were hypocrites. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them with a trial. So when Talut set out with the army, so the Talut said to them that Allah is going to test you with a river. So Allah, actually, as I told you that Talut mounted an attack on Jalut, but that time the weather was very hot. So Talut said to his army that you will be tested with a river which flowed between Jordan and Palestine. So who said to them that whoever drinks water from it, so he is not of me, and meaning he shall not accompany me today, and whoever did not test it, he is of me, except him who takes thereof in the hollow of his hand. He scooped. So the Talut said to them that you will not drink a lot of water from that river. Yes, you are allowed to take just غرفة بيده, water in the hollow of the hand, then there is no harm in this case. So majority of them, or you can say they all drank thereof except a few of them. So how much they were like a few of them? According to one report, there were 4,000 people that they followed the instruction of Talut. But according to another narration, there were 313. So this is the authentic report. So these 313, they went and fought under the leadership of Talut. So when they crossed the river, the Talut crossed the river, and those who believed with him, they crossed the river. Then they said, we have no power this day against the Talut and his army, his host. But those people who knew with certainty that they were going to meet Allah, they said that how often has a small group overcome a mighty host by Allah's leave. So, and they said that Allah is with the patient people. So actually, the wisdom behind this test is that so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know that who is a steadfast man and who is not a steadfast man. Or you can say, there is a famous commentator, Mufti Shafi Rahmahullah, he has explained a wisdom behind this test. He said that no difficult to imagine is the excitement created on such occasions, but there are not many who would stay firm and therefore in their hour of trial. And should such a time come, the weakness shown by such people becomes contagious, making others panic as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed that such people should be thrown out, cut off. So this purpose was accomplished by this test, which is very appropriate, because steadfastness is necessary in fighting. So being patient when water is made available without asking in a state of intense thirst is a proof of the steadfastness, and dashing for water is a proof of its absence. So later on comes the unusual. Those who drank too much water became mysteriously more incapacitated, and those who drank like very little amount of water, so they were steadfast. But one thing keep in mind, that the events and the sayings mentioned in this story tells us that there were three types of people among them. Number one, the weak in faith who failed to make the grade in their hour of trial because they drank too much water. Second type of people, the perfect, who fully succeeded in their trial but did feel concerned about how low they are in numbers. When they saw the army of the opponent, so they felt concern about the low number of their army. So that is why they said that they are more than us. And the third kind of people, the most perfect, who did not bother even about that. So there were 313 people they fought along with the Talut, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them victory. So in this verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states the march of the Talut along with his army, then the test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them with a trial that whoever drinks water of the river, so he will not be the friend or the member of the army of the Talut, and whoever will not drink, so he will accompany him. So most of them, or you can say all of them, drank water, but a few they did not. فَلَمَّا فَصَلَ طَالُوتُ بِالْجُنُودِ قَالَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مُبْتَلِيكُمْ بِنَهَرٍ. When Talut set out along with the troops, قال, he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ مُبْتَلِيكُمْ بِنَهَرٍ. Allah is going to test you by a river. فَمَنْ شَرِبَ مِنْهُ فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. So whoever drinks from it is not my man. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَطْعَمْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. And whoever does not taste it is surely a man of mine. إِلَّا غُرْفَةً. Except the one who scoops a little with his hand. فَشَرِبُوا مِنْهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِنْهُمْ. Then they drank from it except a few of them. فَلَمَّا جَاوَزَهُ هُوَ. So when he crossed it, and those, meaning and crossed those who believed with him, they said, لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا الْيَوْمَ بِجَالُوتَ. There is no strength with us today against Jalut. Jalut means Goliath. قال الذين يظنون. And they said that there is no strength with us today against Jalut and his troops. قال الذين يظنون. And said those who believed that they were to meet Allah. كم من فئة قليلة. How many small groups have overcome the large groups by the will of Allah. And Wallahu ma'as sabirin. And Allah is with the patient. And Allah is with the patient. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَمَّا فَصَلَ طَالُوتُ. When Talut set out, bil-junudi, along with the troops, قَالَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مُبْتَلِيكُمْ بِنَهَرٍ. He said, Talut said, Allah is going to test you, O troops or army, by a river. فَمَنْ شَرِبَ مِنْهُ فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. So whoever drinks from it is not my man. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَطْعَمْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. And whoever does not taste it is surely a man of mine. إِلَّا مَنِ اغْتَرَفَ غُرْفَةً بِيَدِهِ. Except the one who scoops a little with his hand. فَشَرِبُوا مِنْهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِنْهُمْ. Then they drank from it except a few of them. فَلَمَّا جَاوَزَهُ هُوَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ. So when he crossed it, and those who believed with him, they said, قالوا, they said, لا طاقة لنا اليوم بجالوت وجنوده. There is no strength with us today against Jalut and his troops. قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو الله. Said those who believed that they were to meet Allah. كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله. How many small groups have overcome the large groups by the will of Allah. Wallahu ma'as sabirin, and Allah is with the patient. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَمَّا فَصَلَ طَالُوتُ بِالْجُنُودِ. So when Talut set out along with the troops, meaning when the intention to fight against the Jalut, Qala, he said, Inna Allah mubtalikum binahar. Allah is going to test you, O army, by a river. Faman shariba minhu falaysa minni. So whoever drinks from it is not my man. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَطْعَمْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. And whoever does not taste it is surely a man of mine. إِلَّا مَنِ اغْتَرَفَ غُرْفَةً بِيَدِهِ. Except the one who scoops a little with his hand, meaning it is allowed. فَشَرِبُوا مِنْهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِنْهُمْ. Then they drank from it except a few of them. فَلَمَّا جَاوَزَهُ هُوَ. So when he, meaning Talut, crossed it, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ, and those, meaning and crossed those who believed with him, قَالُوا, they said, لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا الْيَوْمَ بِجَالُوتَ وَجُنُودِهِ. They said, there is no strength with us today against Jalut, وَجُنُودِهِ, and his troops. They were the second group, that they did not drink water, but they feel concerned about the low number of their army. So they said, there is no strength with us today against Jalut and his troops. قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو الله. This is the third, the most perfect group, kind of people. How many? They said, those who believed that they were to meet Allah. كم من فئة قليلة. How many small groups have overcome. غلبت كثيرة من كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة. How many small groups have overcome the large groups by the will of Allah. Wallahu ma'as sabirin, and Allah is with the patient. Meaning, if you observe patience, so Allah will help you, because Allah is with the patient people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Falamma. Fa meaning so. Lamma when. Faswala, set out. Talut. Talut is the name of that king. Bil Junudi, along with the army. Qala, he said, meaning the Talut said to his army, Inna Allah, verily Allah is going mubtalikum, to test you, binahar, with a river, by a river. So this river, according to one report, it flows between Jordan, in Arabic it is called Urdu, and Palestine. So he said, Faman, so whoever shariba, drinks, minhu, from it, falaysa minni, he is not my man, or he is not of me, meaning he shall not accompany me today. Waman, and whoever lam yat'amhu, whoever does not taste it, fa innahu minni, he is of my man. Illa, except, man, who, ightarafa, who scoops, ghurfatan biyadi, a little with his hand. Mean there is no harm in this case. Fasharibu, so they drank minhu, from it. Illa, except, qalilan, a few, minhum, of them. Falamma, so when, jawazahu, he crossed, meaning Talut crossed, walladhina, and those, meaning those, crossed those, amanu, who believed, ma'ahu, with him. Qalu, they said, la taqata lana, we have no strength, al-yawma, today, bijalut, against the Jalut, wa junudi, and his troops. Qala alladhina, but said those, yazunnuna, who knew, or who yazunnuna, but those yazunnuna, who knew, or who believed, or who were to meet, yazunnuna anna mulaqullah, who were to meet Allah. Here it has a two meaning. Yazunnuna, it has two meaning. Yazunnuna, those who believed that they were to meet Allah. Another meaning is that they thought. They said, how many? Kam min fi'atin qalilatin. Come mean here, how many? Fi'atin qalilatin, a small groups. Ghalabat, overcome. Fi'atan kathiratan, a large group. Fi'atan, groups. Kathiratan, large. Bi'idhnillah, with the will of Allah. Wallahu, and Allah is ma'as sabirin, with the patient. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, falamma, fa meaning so, lamma, when, faswala, set out, Talut bil junudi, along with the army. Qala, he said, inna Allah, verily Allah, mubtaliikum, is going to test you. Mubtali is to test you, binahar, with a river. So, faman shariba minhu falaysa minni. So whoever drinks, faman, so whoever drinks, shariba, drinks, minhu, from it, falaysa minni, is not my man. Waman lam yat'amhu, and whoever does not taste it, fa innahu minni, he is surely a man of mine. Illa, except man ightarafa, the one who scoops a little, ghurfatan biyadihi, with his hand. Ghurfatan, like a little of scoop, amount of scoop. Biyadihi, with his hand. Yad in Arabic means hand. This ba meaning with. His hand. Fasharibu, fa meaning then. Sharibu, they drank. Minhu, from it. Illa except. Qalilan, a few. Minhum, of them. Falamma, so when. Jawaza, he crossed it. Jawaza, he crossed. Who meaning huwa, mana he. This after Jawaza, who, it meaning river. When he crossed it, and walladhina amanu ma'ahu, and those who believed with him. Qalu, then they said, la taqata lana al-yawma, there is no strength with us, bijaluta, against Jalut, wa junudihi, and his troops. Qala alladhina yadhunnuna, Qala, and said, alladhina yazunnuna, those who believed, annahum, that mulaqullah, they were to meet Allah, meaning they were to meet Allah, meaning they were strong in faith, they desired for martyrdom, they were ready to fight. They said, come min fi'atin, come, how many, min fi'atin qalilatin, how many small groups have overcome, ghalabat, overcome, fi'atan kathiratan, large groups, fi'atan, group, kathiratan, large, bi'idhnillah, with the will of Allah. Wallahu ma'as sabirin, and Allah is ma'as sabirin, with the patient people. So actually this last sentence said by those people who were strong, who were most perfect. So they strengthened the resolve of those people who were weak. So they said that getting victory does not depend on the large amount of army, or it does not depend on the adequacy of the supplies, but it is with the will of Allah. So that is why he said that how many small groups has overcome a large group with the will of Allah, and Allah is with the patient people. So it means if you will be patient, Allah will help you, Allah will give you victory. So this is the meaning of these words.